Don't worry, the coach is okay. Sorry? Yes, same time next week. No, you don't have to do that again. Okay, back pain. Well, it's probably the #1 complaint I get in the Bike Fit studio, and it doesn't have to be that way. In this video, let me take you on a little journey that will help you not only identify why you may be getting back pain, but some solutions to fix it. Put that smile back on your face. Okay, let's get into it. It is quite comfy on this bed, but it is a bit squeaky. But give me a second. I'll be with you soon. Oh. Right, let's start by looking at your back pain in relation to the activity. So maybe you have changed activity, maybe you have increased your activity. Very few people look at the difference between a sub-threshold workout and a threshold workout other than I sweat more, coach, I breathe heavier, it's harder, I even swear more in those workouts. But do you actually look at the difference in your body angles, the pressure through your joints in a sub-threshold workout compared to a threshold workout? We may get to a period in the calendar where you increase your mileage, you increase the climbing that you do, you may have longer climbs, and this is changing the angles and the tension through your joints. Is your body up to it? Now, I say that with a lot of qualification because I see a lot of clients very poor at rehabilitation exercises. They've got an issue through their back. They'll start a program of exercises and then they give up. Come on, when was the last time you uploaded a ride to Strava that was a foam rolling exercise? Hey, I've got a few more trigger points hit today. You don't. You start, you don't see necessarily immediate gains, so you give up. It takes time. But what about prehabilitation, exercises you can do even if you haven't got an illness or an injury, exercises you can do that will offset the start of a problem? Because I've got some shocking news for you. You're getting older, and as you get older, joints will become weaker. Discs in the back may become worn. Yeah, pain is immediate when we fall off the bike. We may break a bone, we may cut the flesh. We feel that, we can recover. But the slow degeneration of joints is something that doesn't quite jump out at you, but you can delay it. And if you do the work, you can get yourself back on your bike and you can cycle into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. In fact, there's people watching this video right now who are even older than me. Fact, you can comment and tell me. So let's get into it and look at the reasons why it may be happening. But with this knowledge, you've got to do something even if you haven't got a problem, because your body's breaking down. Jesus, coach, you are the doom and gloom. Sorry, but had to be said. So modify that activity. I know you're keen to get out and do more miles, climb higher, but gradually increase it. Listen to your body and do the exercises. Now, the next thing I want to talk about that could be causing you back pain is your saddle. Look, we're not designed to sit on bike saddles, are we? If we were, they would be on buses, trains, planes. Now that's an idea, coach. Could we do that? I'm only joking, but we sit in comfort. You don't sit in front of your TV show on a bike saddle, do you? But we can sit on them for longer than what you think. But here's the thing I don't see often mentioned. For a man, we're going to build up pressure in the middle of the saddle. Yes, that's going to make your go a little bit numb, okay? So for guys, I often like to recommend a larger cutout on the saddle if they're experiencing that discomfort. But for a female, that's not good. They build up pressure more on the outside of the sit bones. So if they have a cutout, that can increase that pressure. So for a female, they need to jump to a saddle that hasn't got a cutout if you're experiencing back pain. Another reason that could be causing the back pain is an intrinsic biomechanical issue. Let's say it may be through the pelvis. Maybe there is asymmetric movement through the pelvis. For a female, this could be post-childbirth. There's a bit of a tilt. For a man, it could be a fall he's had on his bike or at a party drunk. Women can fall off their bikes as well. They do it less than men, and they fall with more grace when they're drunk, I think, personally. But if that's not being addressed or being addressed all the time through the rehabilitation exercises, then it's going to come back. It's going to give you a problem. There'll be some imbalance through that joint. And remember, cycling places us in a position that's not natural. And if we're not combating in the anti-position afterwards, then think about it logically. It's going to cause a problem, isn't it? If you work a muscle in one plane all the time, you need to understand that muscles work in pairs, antagonistic partners. The biceps partner, look at that thing, is the tricep. Look, all soft, yeah? Bend the arm, tightens up. We call that bingo wings in the UK. Anyway, think about that. Oh, you did do the exercises. Oh, sure you did. Oh, you did them for what? 4 weeks. And then you gave up because you didn't feel pain when you were going to work. You've got to do them all the time. You've got to preempt problems and then you've got to fix them before they happen. Come on, folks. It's simple. Oh, you want some exercises? I'll share a few with you, but I'm not finished giving you reasons why your back's hurting. Okay, let's look at some of the reasons with the setup of the bike that could be causing the back pain and give some solutions. Now, I do have lots of videos on lots of topics that cover all these items, so you can go through playlists and I'll put some links in the description of other videos that will help you. And yes, please, you can comment on the cardboard boxes. They'll all be going soon and then that will open up the rest of the studio whereby we will be sharing workouts that will help back pain and workouts that you would be proud to put on Strava. Okay, number 1, your reach is too long, and this can be coupled sometimes with the saddle being too high. So what happens is, think of everything that we can't see in the mirror. So when we're getting ready for that lovely night out, you look at the front, you very rarely look at the back. And what's happening is the posterior chain all the way through from Achilles tendon is stretching, and it's overstretching to compensate for this reach. What this does is it offsets the glute being able to stabilise the pelvis and the lumbar kicks in. Now, if the saddle's too high, we have a rocking of the pelvis. This really switches off the glute. And the lumbar, guess what? It's weaker. Oh no, you did the exercises for 4 weeks, didn't you? Not enough. It's not designed to stabilise the pelvis and it fatigues. You may get pain on both sides. You may get pain on one side. Got to fix that. Reduce the stem, flip the stem. We've talked about that before. Bring the stack height up, decrease the saddle a little bit. One thing at a time, coupled with the exercises. So I'll bring the reach in, and guess what? People then say to me, it's not my reach, coach, because it's very short, but I'm still getting a lot of pain through my back. When the reach is too short and we're too relaxed, the back angle is not as acute, but there is more load going through the bottom of the back. And if the rider does this collapsing, guess what? The load through the back will again fatigue the lumbar. We're still trying to stabilise the pelvis and you've got an issue. So you've got to find that nice, comfortable reach. Remember, zombie position, down, try and hit middle to heel of hand, and then that will give you that 15-degree bend in the arm that will therefore take the load off the shoulder as well. Boom, you fix the shoulder, you fix the neck, and you fix the back. Simple. Now the next one that I see in a lot of aero bikes, people looking to go super fast. And that's not just young people, that's people older than me. But what happens is the stack height is so low. So they've got their saddle in a good position, they've worked on the fore aft, but when they come forward, they have to dip down really low. So again, we have this posterior chain is being stretched, an acute angle around the hip flexor. Now remember, a recreational rider would normally have an angle through hip 40 to 50. Now we can go all the way down to under 20 degrees with a really elite time trialist, but your flexibility is normally preset and it's something that's going to deteriorate with age unless, you know it's coming, you're doing the work pre and post. But if you are on a low position and you've just jumped to this super bike and oh, you're so upset that it's causing you issue on your back and you can't raise the stack, this is where you really will dial into the back exercises because it can help. But think of flipping the stem, maybe changing the depth of the bars. Some bars may be at 100 millimeters and we can go down to 70, 75, so we can gain 25 millimeters through the depth of the bar alone. So there are companies out there, just research. You can send some questions in if you want. want about the different depth of bars, and that will help you. One thing I see a lot of people going to is a complete cockpit, a one-piece stem and bars. Please be super careful if you're going for that you really dial in the depth, okay? Don't be fooled by some of these clever salesmen. Understand the depth that you need in terms of the reach. Remember, from that saddle to the hoods or the drops. Not the reach of the bike, because that measurement, it really doesn't help you if you don't understand your own biometrics, okay? Something you may or may not be aware of is that back pain is directly linked to hamstring issues. Hamstrings that are inflexible generally lead to back pain on the bike. And let's be honest, hamstrings are under attack. The poor hamstring, it's getting boom, boom, beaten up by the quadricep every revolution. If your reach is too long, your drop's too low, saddle's too high, your hamstring, if it's got poor flexibility, is holding back. Yeah, it's holding back the pelvis from rolling forward on the saddle. So if you can think of that, well, I'm stretching, posterior chain's stretching, my lumbar is doing too much work, but my hamstring's holding my ass back. Yeah. So we need to work pre and post on the hamstring. It's something that I see have great effect. People with back pain is not only doing the strength and conditioning work for the lower back, but work on their hamstrings. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to increase your flexibility for your hamstring. Let's face it, your hamstring is pretty much set there in terms of your genetics. But you can improve the strength of it. You can improve the muscle tone, the conditioning of it. And it really does help. So when the better weather comes and you're out on those big mountains and you've got your shorts on, oh my God, we get about 3 days in Scotland with shorts on. You don't want to be held back because of back pain, but all along, it's been a hamstring issue. Fix it. So when you're looking at exercises, think of two things. Look at the joint in the opposite direction to what it has been doing on the bike. And the second thing is, look at the action of the joint and the motion, the plane of action that it moves in, and try not to replicate that. Does that sound a bit strange? Not replicate that. Because to increase stability of a joint, we want to move it in lots of different directions. So you can tell in my youth, I was a great dancer. Look at that, dad dancing, extraordinary. But what I'm showing you is joints. They're all different. We have synovial joints, we have hinge joints. Okay, coach, you're boring us. But what I'm saying is there's lots of different joints and they all have different movements. So to stabilize and work on the proprioceptive nervous control, the muscles that hold this joint in place, look at different planes of action to what you're doing on your bike and try and increase the motion, the action, the joint strength, because it really, really does help. Let's look at a few exercises, yeah? I'll give you a couple of my favorite ones that I do very quickly off the bike and before we go onto the bike. Okay, let me share with you a couple of exercises that I do. So when I come in from a longer ride, even if my back is not feeling stiff, I will do this exercise. Just send the back into the opposite angle it was on the bike. I use a basic foam roller, place it in the lower part of the spine, your lumbar, heels on the ground, cross my arms on my chest, and I just now hyperextend. I just stretch off the back in that opposite direction. I'll spend a few minutes doing that, and then I'm always aware of my posture. Immediately for the next few hours afterwards, if I'm sitting down, I'm not collapsing. If I'm in the car, I'm rolling up a small towel and I keep it in the car and I place it at the base of my spine. And this will help me in that post-ride period to make sure that I'm stabilizing and I'm still strengthening the lower back. Now, I spend lots of time with the foam roller after a ride, usually 10-15 minutes, unless I'm soaking wet. The Scottish weather does have a way of doing that to me, or I'm soaking sweat. But the foam roller is such a simple thing to use. I know it's boring, I know it's dull, but it works. Now here's another little exercise I use with it. So, working on the back, I want to strengthen the lumbar, strengthen the glutes. So a classic Superman position, whereby you would lift one leg, lift one hand. When we do that, try not to use your hip flexor to roll your leg. Lots of people do that, and they roll their leg up. Try to fire up your glute, so come up straight, have it nice and tight, then reach out. Advance to using the foam roller, so that we can add a little bit of movement. Then we can come up, one arm, And we can put that stability through. Simple. That's just a couple of exercises. I'm going to be sharing a lot more of these exercises in my Patreon channel and on YouTube, so don't worry, you won't miss out. But if you want to join me on Patreon where we'll go deeper, I've got more time to spend with you. We do Q&A sessions. I'll put the link in the description. It's a small fee. It's not for everyone, I know that. Everybody likes the freebies, but it gives me an opportunity to be more creative, and you can join me in that community. Hey, leave your comments if you do some exercises that really work for you. I will be sharing more exercises once we get rid of the boxes here. But hey, it's been great having you. Thanks for staying to the end of the video. Give it a thumbs up if it's added some value to your cycling. I'll see you in the next video. I might even see you on the live stream on a Monday, even on the workouts on a Wednesday. But you be sure to stay safe, keep smiling, fix that back pain. It's not going to hold you back. I'll see you in the next video. You take care.